The Marvel Cinematic Universe is currently in a very limbo state right now. The quality of their projects starting to get back in order, but reaping the consequences of all 14 Disney Plus shows being hit or miss. Throughout all that oversaturation in content, there was one show in that catalog that I was the most excited for, and that was the Marvel Zombies show, which should serve as the first spin-off show from What If, in which the zombie episode was my third favorite episode from that entire mess of a show, just being behind the Doctor Strange and Ultron episodes. So I was extremely hyped when they announced that it was gonna get a full show on just the zombie timeline, because I love zombie movies and I love Marvel, and getting a show based on one of the most popular What If comic series is such a treat. And with the release of the show, I asked the question, was the wait worth it? I'll talk about my positives and negatives in this video, so let's go.
Shit.
So first of all, the gore. I know the gore was one of the selling points of the show, and at first I thought they were just gonna tone it down most of the time except for some scenes, but no, they are fully embracing it. There were some shots not shown in the trailer about how bloody some of these kills really are. Like, I also love the fact that there is no plot armor in this show. You really don't know who's gonna end up dying next, which is really refreshing to see in a lot of animated shows based on the movies that I've seen, because I don't think I could take another Camp Cretaceous amount of plot armor. And spoilers obviously, but I think a lot of the deaths of the heroes were done pretty well. Except for a few exceptions, which really seem to be only done for shock value, but most of the time, all the deaths were done right. One by one, each character is slowly being picked off from the roster, and it just works. And the emotional beats do hit well. And I think it was a very smart and calculated choice to pick all the best characters from the new phase of the MCU, because the selection they picked was honestly just perfect, which includes Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, James E. Woo, Death Dealer, Blade as Moon Knight, Katie. I had my doubts for some of the picks of who's gonna be a survivor, but I think it was just a very solid team, and I just love how this is kind of a precursor to Avengers Doomsday, because this is the first time that all of these characters are interacting with each other, so we get a sneak peek into what their dynamic could be like in the movie. Now, I was really craving more Shang-Chi content ever since I saw his movie, and I do believe that Marvel Zombies filled my need for more Shang-Chi. And I also really like the attention to detail about Shang-Chi's fighting style in this show, because in the zombie universe, he did not get any training from Ta Lo, so his style of fighting is more aggressive and brute force and not flowy and graceful like in the movies. But I guess it just makes sense since you are in a zombie apocalypse, and why would you need to show mercy to your fighter? Blade as Moon Knight at first was a concept I was not the most happy for, because I would have preferred if he just stayed as Blade or just used the actual Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley. I don't care, just use him, because I am also craving more Moon Knight content. But I believe they wanted their cake and eat it too, because Blade Knight was one of the most important characters in the show. He is the driving force in order to try and stop the infection with Khonshu guiding him, because somehow Mark and Stephen got infected. But he literally was just the aura farming meme the whole time, and they literally just pulled a random bullshit meme to life. I think that the best character in the show was probably Kamala Khan or Miss Marvel. She is basically the main character of the show, and as always, Iman Vellani just brings an energy to the character that I've never seen done for any of the new heroes. I was always a defender of the Miss Marvel show because of Iman Vellani's performance, and I will still give my flowers to her in this show as well. Her character is the one that gets the most focus, having her to deal with the grief of losing her friends and hope in order to save the world. They also just use her powers to the fullest in the show, because where was this amount of creativity in the movies and her show? Like, at this point, she's just a weaker Green Lantern with what she can do. Making a giant blade to decapitate hundreds of zombies at once, creating shields strong enough to hold off Namor, and actually using walls to crush zombies instead of just shielding. I love it. Though I can't really say much about the other characters because those three really were the focus of the show. But Red Guardian and Yelena's relationship is really well done, and it hurts more after watching Thunderbolt seeing both of them succumb to the zombies. Spider-Man didn't get a lot of focus surprisingly, but his fight with Thanos was thrilling because, like I said, we don't know who lives or dies. And for Black Panther, I know people got mad that he had no voice role and Marvel is still refusing to recast Chadwick Boseman, but I feel like this moment fits. Plus, he got to defeat the Mad Titan, and I think that was a pretty worthy send-off. Kate Bishop and Riri Williams were literally what drives Kamala to save the world, so if anything, they only contribute to her story. And Jimmy Woo, you will be missed. You did not deserve to go out like that. Now, enough about the characters, but can I just say, the animation is actually good. Yeah, the art style is clearly not the best, but there are sequences in the show that are just insanely well animated and over the top, and you can clearly see that this is the work of Flying Bark Productions. Yes, the same animation studio that worked on Monkey Kid and the last Airbender movies are in charge of the animation, and you can really see it in the final episodes with its level of absurdity in a good way, not in a way like in What If Season 3 finale. Though the animation was good, the execution was not that good, unlike in here where it's done better. You have the plot device of an Infinity Stone-powered Hulk, now known as the Cypher, being this overpowered beast that can just do, well, this. This is still the reason why Marvel is continuing to work with Flying Barks on their projects, which they can actually hire them to make something 2D, like a 2D show, but I'll take what I can get. Also, the ending, now, call it cliche or corny to have a bad ending for a zombie project, but I still love bad endings in superhero media where the villain wins, and I believe we should get more stories on screen where the hero loses, but that's just for me. Now, I think that's all my positives I have for the show, so let's move on to my negatives. Now, I said that I really love all the visuals and story concept, action sequences, and most of the character work, but speaking of the character work and story bits, there were some parts that were just undercooked or not explained. I want to first talk about the Hulk. The last time we saw him, he was fighting Scarlet Witch, and the next time we see him, he somehow ended up in Kamar-Taj and became the Cypher. Like, what exactly happened in between those events? And why could he actually not beat the zombie army with the power of infinite energy? It's literally in the name, and is the reason why Wanda wants that power in the first place. We clearly see that Hulk is now capable of some insane feats right now, and he ends up getting tired. When usually anger is what powers the Hulk, and he seems to be getting more angry here. I'll cut them some slack since this is just a very minor nitpick of mine. So my next negative is that how the hell did Namor and the other Talokans get infected? They literally live underwater, and Namor's skin is infused with vibranium. So how did he get infected in the first place? Did zombie Captain America just like jump in the water and got lucky encountering a Tuma or something and bit him? Then again, this was just a nitpick of mine, and zombie Namor does make for a very thrilling sequence, so I can't exactly blame the writers for that. But what isn't a nitpick of mine, but is an actual credible criticism, is that what exactly is Wanda's plan here? Like, this is the third time that the Scarlet Witch has taken an antagonist role, and the second time she didn't make a lot of sense, and neither did the third time she did. She said it herself, she somehow got control of her mind, and I guess the zombie virus is what makes her take on the villainous role. But what exactly was her goal? We know she needed Infinity Hulk and Ms. Marvel to rewrite reality, but to what? For what? What exactly does she want? Her kids? WandaVision didn't happen yet. Her brother? I don't think she needs the Hulk for that. It still confuses me that every time Scarlet Witch is the antagonist of an MCU project, they fumble her in some way. Sure, she is threatening. Sure, she made a great unstoppable force. But then again, I still don't know why she was fighting so hard for it. So, overall, what do I think of Marvel Zombies? Well, I would say it's a pretty bloody good time. Now, I know there are some negative reviews for the show, but they are very far and few between, and most of them just make me think, does the person who made this review just hate fun? Now, there are some reviewers that do make a good point, but it's a zombie project at the end of the day. We're here for the action and gore, which it delivers on so well, and I do think it was worth the wait. It had the level of craziness I wanted What If to have, and not whatever this was, and combined two of my favorite genres of film and television together. So, I have some notes, but I do think that Marvel Zombies is very much a good show, and I'm praying to get a season 2. But that's gonna do it for this video. Please check out some other videos that I did. Subscribe if you want to, but that'll be all for today. See you in the next video.